All right, folks, Draft Maniacs. We're going to talk about a popular name today. Yes, it's the one you've all been waiting for. We're talking about Amen Thompson of the Overtime Elite. Now, there's been plenty of ups and downs and popular conversations, if you want to put it that way, about Amen Thompson and his brother Asar throughout the entire draft process. But we're going to talk about the bread and butter when it comes to Amen. We're going to talk about his playmaking and why there's a chance for him to be a potential star at the next level. There's some really special stuff on tape. If you've been listening to us at the No Ceilings Pod all year, you know me and Metcalf go back and forth when it comes to the Thompsons, when it comes to their rank and trajectory. But regardless of some of the weaknesses he might have to his game, these strengths are eye-opening. This is going to be a fun one. Metcalf, what are we thinking for Amen Thompson here with the playmaking?
I mean, kind of similar to Scoot Henderson. So much of it derives from how freakishly athletic he is. And I mean, so let's just start here. Early offense pushing, nothing crazy, just blows past his defender because he has that explosive first step, those long strides that make him really fast in the open court. And by the time that he gets to the paint, the entire defense has to collapse on him, except his guy because he's out in Narnia where Amen left him. And now that he has all four defenders in his face, he knows that the rest of his team is wide open. So he could potentially explore this dunker spot, but he knows that guy's collapsing down. He could explore the opposite wing, but his momentum's taking him this way. So instead of trying to pass against his momentum to the wing, he just kicks it out with ease to the wide open corner shooter.
I think that's going to be, me and you have talked, regardless of maybe his challenges early as a rookie, we still think there's a world in which Amen comes out of the gate and explodes. And it would not shock me if he thrives starting on. You've said this, and I've said this. It would not shock us if he thrives early on, and people might be like, oh, he's rookie of the year. I think it's going to be some time when teams are going to have to adjust to his speed, because you just look at how quickly he could turn on the afterburners. And like you said, his defender is like, what the heck just happened? But the understanding of he can attack, get down in traffic, and understand where the ball should go. And then he throws bullet passes. Like he will hit you in the hands. So I think that's something that early on, it's going to take a while for people to realize, okay, this hype is real with this kid's speed. But when he gets to January and teams are adjusting to that, how can he still impact? And I think he's going to have to lean on this because his playmaking is so special.
Yeah, and I think it's really important to note here. First, you mentioned it, the velocity on this pass. Yes. It is a frozen rope. There's no time for that defender to legitimately get both feet out of the paint and recover. And then where he delivers it, that's perfect. It's right on the money. Yes. I mean, just, we talk about him going to Houston. Imagine Jabari's getting that pass just right where he needs it and immediately rising up. And it's what, especially in these early offense situations, as long as guys run their lanes, get to their spots, they're going to feast on corner threes because of how quickly and effortlessly Amen can not only get in the rim, then collapse the defense, and then find them with a super accurate pass.
All right, Metcalf, this is one I love because watching it as an evaluator, you start laughing because I feel like he tricks the camera almost. It looks like he's got nothing. So you're like, okay, well, where are you driving into? And then all of a sudden, that's all creation. That's all getting the defense to react to you. I mean, it's almost like he's singing a lullaby to the defense. Everyone's like, what the heck is this guy doing? Boom. That is just special, special stuff. And you're going to see that all the time, because defenses are freaked out with his athleticism and his ability to get to the rim. That creates all this attention on the defensive side of the ball that he understands. And I think it's going to continue to show with his game as he develops. He's going to understand how to manipulate a defense where it's like, okay, let me get in here, and it's going to create all these other passing angles.
Yeah, and it's wild how he creates this out of what should be nothing. Right. As he brings it up here, it's 1-on-3, 1-on-4. 4 of the first 5 guys over half court are the other team. This should be nothing. How many point guards right now would just kind of pull it out? Instead, he says, screw it, just going to lull my defender to sleep, explode into the lane, see if I can create something, keep probing, spins back, could potentially have a layup there, but knows 4 defenders are right here. That means my guy's wide open somewhere over there. Spins out, spots him right on the money. Splash.
The funniest part of the whole play is I feel like on the initial attack, like right here when you're watching it, you'd be like, oh, he's going baseline, and then you go, what? You're going right? You're going to go in the middle of the lane? And it's like you said, that should have been nothing. And that's because of Amen that you're getting a 3-point shot wide open, high percentage shot. I mean, that's just beautiful.
God, just look how he explodes out of that spin move.
Yeah.
And just boop.
There's a point in there where there's like 3 defenders on the other team looking around like, what the heck are we doing? Like, who's got who? And it's just him creating something from nothing. That's beautiful.
That's special.
Everything looks nice, fast speed, but when you slow down, you really appreciate just the attention to details with stuff. And man, like we talked on that first clip, just the velocity, it had to be on the money to create the ideal opening. This one this has to be a perfect dime because of the defensive attention. There's not a big window there. It's almost like you just mentioned it before we came to this clip where you're just like, this has to be like almost a quarterback throwing like an over the shoulder. Like it has to be perfectly placed to where only his teammate can get it.
Yeah, and this feels like a crossing route. Quarterback's just waiting for his guy to get to that soft spot in the zone, leads him. And that's just like a sidearm whip pass that he's throwing too. And the spot where he releases it is so funky. I can't get it perfect, but I think I had it a little bit ago. And he leads his guy, his brother, Asar, perfectly. And that momentum of that pass and where he leads him brings both defenders all the way over. And then Asar obviously has the athleticism and awareness where he can kill his momentum and then pivot back for the dunk.
And if you see on that play, right before he throws it, that help side big down low, right when he turns his head, like that's perfect place. He's looking at Asar right now, and Amen's like, oh, I'm going to have him because he's going to be late to react. Yep. So, like, right when he turns his head back around, Amen's throwing it because he knows, like, oh, he's out of position. And then Asar hits him with a beautiful pump fake to get that dunk.
And you can even see it in his body language where he's like, oh, crap, I have to get there.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, Metcalf, hit me with this one. I mean, we're laughing over here.
It's just, again, just great pace. And just a funky release angle on that pass. I've been hesitant to buy into Amen's pick and roll creation because the numbers haven't been great because defenders can go way under like this. But situations like this where he's not just running a standard high pick and roll, it's, a little off to the wing. Now he can explode to the middle of the floor, and his ability to pressure that and the threat of him turning the corner on this drop defender forces that guy to step up a little more than he should. Now, this other weak side defender either missed his assignment or, they just don't know how to cover it, and he sticks with the corner shooter, and then sees that over the shoulder hook pass with velocity right on the money for the easy dunk because his athleticism again is just moving guys that in a way that a lot of guys are incapable of doing.
It's the gravity just coming with him, coming with the ball. Like everyone's like, oh gosh, it's Amen. And before you even understand where you're supposed to be, Amen's throwing an absolute bullet over the top pass for an easy slam.
And I've had I've had some gripes with the velocity that he puts on his passes on the interior, but this one it's important because he has to throw it with the speed where his defender can't get his hands up in time, and with enough pace where the initial drop defender can't get back in time too. Also, it's right on the money. It's exactly where it needs to be, where if it's 6 inches off, that becomes a lot more hard or a lot more difficult for that guy to catch. But since Amen is putting it right on the money, the guy anticipates it easily and just has his hands ready for the easy dunk. All right, what do you like about this one?
I like this is a different speed of the plays that we just saw before, but this is also showing the importance. And I think the velocity you're talking about is something really to pay attention to because you're also going to want to be careful of not to just constantly throwing fastballs. It's like a Major League Baseball pitcher throwing fastballs all the time. Eventually, someone's going to take you yard when you're pumping gas nonstop. You got to change your speeds. But the understanding of when it's important to throw some velocity with a pass is really special. And I like here that there's some poise, there's some composure, there's understanding of let me see what I got and let me analyze the floor. Like he's coming off the screen right there. That's perfect because he right away, some young guard might be like, okay, let me just throw this extra right onto the wing. But I think Amen does a good job of not forcing it, being patient. Let me create a little bit. And because of that, I think you also, if you're Amen right here, you understand, like, I have this corner kick if I got nothing. But I also have this potential where if this big man comes and like he does, beautiful dump off right here. And like you said with the last clip, this has to be with a little bit of juice on it so that it's an easy catch and finish. Yeah, and just the composure, especially here. Okay, help defense. Again, could be rushed, could be flustered, kick it out. But he knows the opposing team is trying to force the ball out of his hands. So just a little escape dribble and then attack before his defender can get back rim side, allows him to get into the lane. Again, could make that whip pass there, but he's trying to get the easiest shot possible. So as he goes here, his brother's open on the wing, corner shooter's open. He knows either are outlets. He's waiting on what is this low man on his big man gonna do. And as he elevates, that defender bails back out towards Asar. So Amen is like, all right, cool. Let's take the easy dunk, and I'm just going to dump it off right there. We've talked plenty of the year of like the OTE. Some of the games can get a little crazy. I also think like it's not any slander because this is an unbelievable freakish like awareness play that at points we might be like, I don't know. But you need to take this into consideration where it's just the awareness of like ball, up that floor. Like that's just... I hope he's not doing that in NBA games. I don't think he'll get away with that often, but that just shows the recognition. And obviously there's some Thompson, brotherly love right there with that recognition and chemistry. But I just love the creativity from Amen. Yeah. And when we talk about his transition offense, I think so often we think about him leaking out and getting the ball in space and getting downhill into the rim. But it's just kind of stuff like this where I think it is a cool example of his floor awareness and his ability to immediately spark the transition offense out of just a bunch of different situations. So once the shot goes up, Asar's leaking out. He's the farthest man up the court, and Amen's making that outlet pass before he hits the ground. I mean, that's strength, it's awareness, it's accuracy. Obviously, he couldn't get quite enough juice on it to get Asar in stride, which would have just even been more absurd. But I think it just does a great job of showing that he's so aware of where everyone on his team is on the floor.